Hi! So, welcome to part 2 of the movie about all the books supplies that you're going to need. So, we're going to continue. Get up. Alright. So, these are all my fashion magazines. This one is the Fashion Illustration for Figure Drawing. This is one of 3 books I definitely recommend. It's on the recommended reading. The other one is for drawing clothing on the figure. So, this one is just actually how to help you draw a croquis, which I'm hoping to go over with. Alright, so, open this bad boy up. Okay, so, as I can demonstrate, the normal human body is 8 head, the croquis are 9, and super fashion illustrations also can have 10, but the legs are just going to be super long. It just shows you all the curves, it shows you all the different lines of 9 heads, so where everything belongs. And then it goes into detail, gives you all these examples of all these different poses that you can then replicate. Try not to trace it, try to draw it yourself, because everyone's got different styles. You can also play around with it, so if you want a longer neck, or if you want it to be skinnier at the waist, I like that. I like skinny, more dramatic hourglass figures. And then if we go back, and it shows you some examples of what clothes look like, and then we go back, and some more. Get this for you. There are some where it's like she's laying or sitting on objects. So they give you a whole bunch of ones to choose from and examples of what the fabric's going to look on. When you're choosing a croquis, whatever detail that you want to focus on, make sure that part of the body is actually showing. Because if you have a back detail, you're not going to choose one where you can only see the front. Or if you put something on the front, you don't want to see it only from the side. So choose the appropriate croquis. Shove this back in here. And you can always go to the bookstore and get a whole bunch of drawing books. I happen to have gotten this one as a gift for Christmas. This is a book series. I have a few in there, a whole bunch of different topics that I can choose from. If you're going to get it for super duper cheap, you might as well get one that's very comprehensive, that has everything, instead of just, say, this front book alone, just drawing faces and figures. Whereas you could need landscape or, anything else. So, if you're going to get it for a cheap price, make an investment. So, this one is for drawing on the computer. So, once you draw on your stuff manually, how to bring it to the computer and make it into digital art. This is a must-have once you get into the industry, because you're going to be using computers a lot, and nobody wants, well, depending on how well you can do it, most people want it computerized. I'm always being told by my professor to draw everything on the computer, and it just drives me bonkers. So, it gives you a little history, all the indexes, and then croquis like this. So what you be doing is you take your croquis that you've drawn manually, you put it on the computer, you take your Adobe Illustrator, you draw it all in, and then you use your layers to draw the clothes on it. So they give you how to draw technicals, and then you get into here, and it has like all the different pictures of how you can use Adobe Photoshop to turn that into digital art. If you don't want the one that's just for fashion, they do have books that are just for Photoshop and how to use the different ones. Again, it's got the little buttons, or not little buttons, but like the little squares, so that way when they're trying to explain it, you don't get all confused, because you have the little visual representation right in front of you that you'll be seeing on your computer screen as you follow through these steps. Now, there are 3 kinds of pattern making. There are pattern making with torso blocks, there's pattern making on the computer with Gerber, and there's pattern making with draping. So you take your fabric and you manipulate it on the body, and this tells you what kind of square blocks of fabric to cut, how wide, and then it goes through the step-by-steps of how to drape it. So as you can see, here's a little collar. You got your little piece up here, and then it just goes through all the single steps, and they have just about everything that you're going to need. Cowl necklines, you can do it computerized, or not, yeah, you can do it computerized, you can do it by drafting, but if you want it to look all natural, and it looks drapey, do it draped. You will need a dress form. If you can't afford one, see if there's any way to get into a school that has fashion design and just borrow it. Nineheads. This is again another drawing book, and this one is fashion drawing manually. So we get in here, how to draw your croquis, how to do it from the side angles, all the different parts of the face, the eyes, the feet, and then you get into how to draw the fabric on it. And once I get farther into here, it starts showing you how to draw technicals. Now, there's a difference between fashion illustration and drawing technicals. Fashion illustrations are very artful, they can be very interpreted, and then with the technicals, it's essentially the garment, once it's made, accurately laying on a table, no artistic interpretation is how you actually want it to look once it's on a person, and you have to be very careful with how you draw it because these little drapes right here, somebody could interpret that as those are actually sewn instead of just floating like it's cascading. So you got to be very careful with your technicals, and that's why you do samples and you can check all that. They have men's in the back. They have different mediums. So this again is on the recommended reading. You can see me again. Okay, so up here is all my other kind of books. I definitely suggest having a section on writing. So you are going to be writing a whole bunch of stuff like how to describe your garments and business proposals. You're really going to have to know more extensive vocabulary. If you want to get into reporting, you're going to have to know different terminologies. So although there's probably a fashion dictionary out there, I would definitely suggest for the basics to have a dictionary. Since I'm Canadian, I speak French fluently, but I don't remember everything, so I do have an English to French. I have a thesaurus if I'm having a brain fart. I also want to get into creative writing, so writing books or scripts or stuff like that, so I do have books like this. If you are into that, I found this bad boy. This is so funny. Like, there's no one way to say how to do something, but if you're told what not to do that screams amateur, this is definitely one of the ones to get, so I'll let you see that up close. How not to write a novel. It's actually quite funny, so it makes it a really easy read. And I have other ones, like this is my little book on royal palaces, if I need research on architecture, art and costumes. See, this is what I mean. This is a little cheap book on human figure drawing. This was like $1 or $2. So this has a lot in it, but if I'm going to be drawing landscapes or architecture or anything like that, I need one that's more comprehensive than this. And then I have ones that are a whole bunch of inspiration. There's quotes, there's misconceptions, facts, just finally, last but not least, okay, I'm going to start with these. These are little calendars. My friend from high school gave me this one. It's by Josephine Waller. And my stepmom gave me this one. This one is all just purses. So if I want to make accessories, I got a great inspiration right there. So, if you want to get calendars, I would suggest definitely waiting in January, until January, or like even December. I think they started going on sale. So then, if you just want it for inspiration and you're not actually going to use it, you're not going to have to pay full price. Just saying. So, another great one are the vintage catalogs. Depending on where you go, I usually just go, actually this one was given to me, but I have other ones as gifts, and I've gotten myself those used bookstores. So not only like thrift stores like Goodwill and I don't know about Value Village. They have tendency to sell more new stuff, but like Bob's for Missions, I think St. Vincent de Paul's, the last two are the ones that are more common here. And I would love to get one of the like this big thick Sears catalogs from the 1920s and 30s. I always looked up those in high school. We had a couple of those. They're really good. If I open this bad boy up, just have all my, has all the patterns and pictures and very retro. Great inspiration. And then we have all my sci-fi stuff. I am a huge sci-fi buff. Just about every single one of my friends can tell you that. And I want to show you guys this bad boy. This is the one I was telling you about from the Star Wars. This is Dressing a Galaxy. All the costumes from Star Wars. And it starts off, if I open this bad boy up, so Trisha Bigger, if you want to see a picture of her, it's her right there. Okay. And every single chapter starts off with all this concept art. You have no idea how much concept art I went through high school and just printed off and used for reference. And I want to move and skip to this one, so you guys have an example. This is Padme Amidala, played by Natalie Portman. This is her Senate address gown, or rather, what the fans call it. This could be a little preview. So you get up close and personal, and you get to see those nice close-up details of each of the garments. This is like intergalactic haute couture, if you will. And you get to see up close and personal what those details are, to the point where you can actually pretty much replicate it. So if you're a fan, this is a must-have. And this has all 3 of the prequel trilogies. And in the back, it's actually really nice. Where's this sucker? Look at this. Nice little catalog from the entire trilogy. Not just the prequel, but the original as well. So all the different characters have their names. They have them. What they do is, when they have a costume, they actually take a photo shoot and just see the front, side, and back views. It's like a profile or something. So they got this whole little thing in the back. So this sucker was fairly expensive. Let's see. US 50, Canadian 70, and 27 pounds UK. So this has not gone cheap, but for me, it's definitely worth it. One of my first paychecks was actually spent on this bad boy. If you're more of an artist, and you're not into the costumes itself, I would suggest one of these. Ian McCage is one of the head concept illustrators for Star Wars, along with a couple others. And there are 3 for the original trilogy. I think there might be one for the original. This is a prequel. So, this is all the concept art that went into it. Look at all that. They got everything in here that went into designing all the pictures that George Lucas had to choose from to create the looks of all the planets and characters and the monsters and the storyboards. They have everything in here. This bad boy, if I can get a price for you, US 35, Canadian 50. So one of my first paychecks was spent on Star Wars books. I just have more Star Wars reference, visual dictionary, special editions. I have my Stargate Ultimate Visual Guide, Star Trek Encyclopedia. I'm not really particular on, being an all Trek or an all Star Wars or anything like that. So sci-fi is sci-fi. I love having designs that are very futuristic. So futuristic and dramatic are my 2 things when it comes to my designs, and I use my sci-fi stuff for inspiration. This is just a big folder. It's got all my articles that I've picked out. I'm bothered to organize those, so those are just shoved in there. Then I had scrapbooks that I was using. Now I'm going to show you what that looks like. I prefer not to do this, because what happens is, if I need this for a mood board, if I have to do it manually, all the pictures are already glued together and it's not organized. Everything starts falling apart and all that stuff, but you can still use it, so just still keep it. This is a really nice one. Big manual. It's just I prefer not to use the scrapbooks anymore. That's why I got my portfolio over here, so that I keep all my stuff and I don't have to worry about tearing it if I want to use it for something else. I don't know, I just don't do this. And that's pretty much it. So I will leave you until next time. Bye!